Sporting Journal Radio, presented by Onyx.
This is Sporting Journal Radio. I'm Brett Amundsen. Thanks for tuning in on the network by demand, sportingjournalradio.com, or by downloading the podcast. Dan Amundsen right behind us right there. Maybe you're watching this on YouTube right now, and you can tell we're not in our studio. We're actually up at Lake of the Woods. We're in a fish house here, heated fish house on Lake of the Woods at about 32 feet of water with Alex Peterson here. We're with Riverbend Resort. Alex, how's it going?
Good. Thanks for having me on the show.
I know you've been busy. We've been up here for a couple of days, so I'm glad you got to sit down and fish with us for a little bit.
Well, I tell you, it's always nice to sit down for a few minutes and take a break, especially when it's cold out like this. It's nice to sit down and just relax for 15, 20 minutes.
It's funny, when we were getting ready for this trip, we looked at the forecast, the long-range forecast, and we looked at the days that we were going to be up here, and it's like, it's not going to be above zero the whole time. Now, cold fronts, obviously, people know that cold fronts can have an effect on fishing, and it's definitely had an effect up here.
Yep.
But we ate fish last night. We got fish in the bucket today. I mean, that's the beauty of this place is you're still going to catch fish. You might not have, 100 fish days. You might not be smashing 30 inchers, but you're going to have some action.
Exactly. That's kind of what Lake of the Woods is known for is nonstop action all day long. And when I say nonstop, I'm not talking like catching a fish every 5 minutes. I'm talking you're going to be getting fish from the time you get out on the lake till the time you come off the lake. It's an all-day bite instead of going to other lakes where you only have a bite in the morning and in the evening.
What are you doing?
It's a nice steady bite all day long, and it's great for kids. It really is because it keeps kids entertained.
Yeah. Especially when you got electronics like this and this live scope, we're seeing 20 feet on either side of us right now. We're seeing so many more fish than you would on just that flasher right there. And sometimes that's frustrating because they don't always come all the way into your bait. Otherwise, it gives you plenty of time to kind of prepare for it and get on it. And we've seen so many more fish than we normally would have with this type of electronics. It's a lot of fun, and of course, we all know, we talk about it a lot on this show. It's a day bite up here, so we kind of came out at sunrise. We'll go back in at sunset. Yep. You guys will cook up our fish for us. It's delicious. How has it been here at Lake of the Woods this year so far?
I would say it's been steady. It's not a gangbuster year, but you know what? It's still a steady year. It seems like we're always into a couple slot fish every week. We're not killing them by any means, but nobody ever is. But it's a steady bite. A lot of the people that come out here, if you fish and you know what you're doing, you can at least get a meal for dinner. Bring some fish home with you too.
There's a fish right there.
See? It's not that hard to do, is it?
I love getting interrupted by fish on the radio show. No, you'll get, just like anywhere else, you'll get fish that aren't as active as other ones. And when the active fish come through, they're just so much fun because you can catch them on a lot of different things. Like this is a small walleye right here. So good future. Obviously the lake is full of walleyes, full of lots of little ones like this. And look at this live target, lipless crankbait. So it's this rattle bait, this yellow perch rattle bait from Live Target. It's it's a bigger profile bait.
Yeah.
Look at the size of the fish that you can still catch on these.
You look at the size of that bait to the size of that fish, and you tell me that fish wasn't hungry.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of people have talked about the fact that you come out here, especially once you get to February, end of January, February, you're catching a lot of small fish. Oh, the lake's in trouble, Lake's always had a lot of small fish like this.
Exactly. The lake's not in trouble. The lake is doing what the lake always does. This time of year, the fish are spreading out through the lake, and you have to look at it like you're fishing in the summertime. Your ice house is your boat. You can only catch the fish that are underneath your boat.
Right. If
that fish decides to move, in the wintertime, you can still be a little bit portable. You can go after them, but it's obviously a lot easier in the summertime to do that. But the fish are just dispersing out. They're not congregating around anything. There's nothing to hold a big school of fish in one area right now. In the spring and the fall, obviously we have shiner runs and spawning that concentrates the fish, and you can have really good fishing. But this is just typical Lake of the Woods midwinter fishing.
How's the ice been this year?
The ice has been, it's good ice this year. We just don't have as much ice as we normally do.
Sure.
We're sitting here end of January right now. On a typical year, we'll be pushing a little over 3 feet of ice right now. and we're sitting at 2 feet of ice, which is still plenty of ice for all the recreational stuff that we do on the ice here. It's plenty safe. It's just, it's not as much, so I think it may be a little shorter of a season this year. And that's basically due to the last few years, we've had our cold snap the beginning of January, end of December, beginning of January. And this is really the first cold snap we've had. And we have about 18 inches of snow on top of the ice to insulate the ice, so it's hard to make ice when you have that snow up there.
So you guys are constantly out here checking the ice conditions?
Yep. We're out here every morning before our customers come out. We're checking the ice conditions. We're making sure it's safe. A lot of the cracks and pressure ridges and stuff that pop up happen at night, so we want to come out and make sure that the road's safe. Our ice crews are out here all day, every day, and there's times that we got to move the road. If we even think the ice is going to have an issue, we're going to move the road. We're going to do safety first and take care of that. This year, we haven't had to move it too much. We had to move it the other day. When we got this cold snap first came in, the ice cracked a little bit. We moved our road, let it heal up for about 2 days, and now we're driving on it again today. So
we had a pretty interesting... You guys had a pretty interesting client here the other day, a woman from Florida, and he was 15-year-old
son, yep.
Came out, had researched ice fishing, he's 15, really got into fishing, and told his mom he wanted to go ice fishing, so they Googled a little bit, found Lake of the Woods, found River Bend, and came here and fished for a couple of days.
Yep, they were some great customers. I got to sit with them for a little bit, talk to them. The kid loves to fish.
Yeah.
You know, I want to book him as a guide when I go to Florida because he had some amazing pictures of fish. And the same thing, I was talking to him and I says, well, how'd you guys find out about us? And they said, well, we Googled the best place to ice fish, and Lake of the Woods popped up, and the best resort they had popped up was River Bend Resort. So they gave us a call, and they were a lot of fun. They had a lot of fun. They caught plenty of fish. They had, I think it was their first time eating walleyes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, they had a good time, so I'm looking forward to them coming back.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of clientele. I mean, you probably see all sorts of clients here, but probably a lot of families and people bringing their kids and stuff here.
Yep, we see a lot of families. And believe it or not, we see a lot of families coming and staying in our sleeper houses. That to me, I think, would be fun. If it wouldn't be so fun if I had my sister with me or something and we were fighting all weekend. I think Dad would probably throw a scoop of minnows at us or something. But I think as a family, that'd be a fun vacation to come up and spend a night or two in a sleeper house and experience that. It's a different experience if you've never done it before.
So we're fishing in 32, 33 feet of water right here. We're jigging kind of down near the bottom. We got live targets. I did tip mine with a minnow head. I fished it with it and without it. Caught a few fish without it too, but decided to go with a little bit of scent and flavor down there. What other tips would you give for us to try to catch a nice walleye here today?
You know, keep an eye on your electronics, and if you see something come through suspended, those are typically your bigger fish. So you want to watch out for that. 2 days ago, I caught a nice 19-inch fish 8 feet below the ice.
8
out
feet
here
below
in this,
the ice, in 30 feet of water.
Yep, I was 100 yards south of us.
Okay.
And I seen it come through, and I thought, well, maybe. They're hard to get to bite, but I reeled up to it, played around with it for about a minute, and it bit. The other thing that is something that we do up here a lot is bounce your jig off the bottom.
Sure.
Stir up that mud out there. Once you get past the 28-foot mark, you're in 30 feet of water. And you get in that 30 plus feet of water, and it's all mud on the bottom. And you stir up that mud, the fish kind of associate that with a hatch coming on, maybe a bloodworm coming out of the bottom or something, and they're going to come over there and take a look at it.
As far as baits go, what do you like to start with? What's kind of your go-to?
My tried and true is on my jigging rod. I have to have something that makes noise. I want a rattle trap. I want a buckshot jig. Anything that makes noise and is flashy. I'm trying to call those fish in from 15, 20 feet out. And then on my dead stick, I want either a plain red hook with a split shot or just a little, this year, a little white jig. The little demons have been working good, little grubs. And white's just a color that I've fell in love with this year. It's worked really good for me. And you just tip it with a minnow, a live minnow, and let it sit down there. You're gonna call them in with your rattle trap, your flashy jig, and if it's a more subtle fish, it's gonna swim over, and before you know it, they'll be on your dead stick.
Now, I don't know if we're just doing things differently for whatever reason, or we just have different conditions, but the last couple of days, our jigging lure, whatever we're using, has outfished the dead stick, which I'm kind of surprised about. And the best lure that we have had out here today, if I can reel up here, the best lure that we have had out here today has been this yellow perch rattlebait from Live Target. That has outfished everything else so far. Let's see if I can do that right there. And I do have it tipped with a minnow head right there. I think that's like the 2-inch size, something like that. It's got a rattle in it, but the yellow perch rattlebait. We've tried a couple of the other rattlebaits, and I know the erratic shiner. You know, obviously we're using a lot of Live Target here this weekend. We're part of the Aglow Ice Media event, and we're using Live Target products. We're using Smith products. We got favorite rod and reels and some Zebco stuff, and a bunch of different products that we're trying out. So we've been trying all these different Live Target baits, and this has kind of been the best one, which kind of that gold perch color. It makes sense that that one will do well here.
Yep. When I was fishing in the other house over here, I was using the Live Target shad with the it was the chartreuse colored one.
Okay.
And I was having some pretty good success with that over there, showing them how to use that. What I liked about it is it doesn't have a treble hook on it.
Oh, right.
It has that double hook on it, and I thought that was kind of unique.
That's the Sonic shad, the blade.
Yep, the Sonic shad. And I asked him, I said, well, why did we put a double hook on this instead of a treble hook? And when it's falling, those double hooks come and they rattle on the bait and they make a little bit of noise, and they didn't get the same action when they had a treble hook on it. And I thought, that's actually pretty unique. I haven't seen that in a lure yet, so yeah.
You know, that's, without going in too far into the Live Target stuff here, they've done so many little nuanced things like that.
Yes.
You know, instead of like saying that having to put ball bearings inside a lure, a hard body or something like that to get that rattle, just something like that where you can design it so the hooks bounce off the side to get that same noise without having to add extra parts and extra components to it. So
yeah, that was really cool.
All right, Alex Peterson, guide here at Riverbend Resort, Lake of the Woods. Let's get back to fishing. Good luck. Thanks for the time today.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Hear more at sportingjournalradio.com or wherever you get podcasts. It's ice fishing season and time to plan your trip to Riverbend Resort on Lake of the Woods. Stay at the Lakeside Resort along the Rainy River in one of their new cabins and enjoy delicious meals and hot or cold beverages in the Miles Lab Bar and Grill. Or stay in one of their comfortable sleeper houses on the ice, complete with a TV, stove, and lots of walleyes right beneath your feet. You also have the option of staying at their motel, the Walleye Inn, located in Baudette. Book your ice fishing trip to famous Lake of the Woods today at riverbendresort.com. That's riverbendresort.com.